For decades, there has been one unchanging reality in the world economy. The US dollar has stood at the center of international trade, financial markets, energy markets, and state reserves. Almost all countries have kept their reserves in dollars. Oil and gas have been sold in dollars. Large companies have signed contracts in dollars. When states have lent money to each other, calculations have been made in dollars. The dollar has not just been a currency. The dollar has been a symbol of global power, political influence, and economic control. This system seemed to work without problems for many years. The United States was the largest economy in the world. Its financial markets were considered deep and reliable. Investors brought their money to the United States. Banks trusted the dollar. States kept their reserves in dollars. This situation gave the United States a huge advantage. The United States could print its own money, and the whole world accepted it. The United States paid its debt in its own currency and did not need permission from other countries. At the same time, the United States could control the dollar system and impose sanctions on any country it wanted and make that country's banking system and trade extremely difficult. But over time, the weak sides of this system also began to appear. Especially in recent years, the US government debt has grown rapidly. Trillions of dollars in debt have accumulated. To pay this debt, even more money has been printed. During the pandemic, the United States printed money on a scale never seen before in history. This saved the markets in the short term, but in the long term, it increased inflation and weakened the purchasing power of the dollar. People and investors started to think that if so much money is being printed, how this money's value can be protected in the future. At the same time, the US dollar began to be used not only as an economic tool, but also as a political weapon. Sanctions imposed on various countries showed that being dependent on the dollar system is a big risk. When a country's banks are removed from the international payment system, that country's trade becomes almost paralyzed. This situation gave many states a clear message. If you are completely dependent on the dollar system, you can be economically squeezed very easily during a political conflict. Exactly at this point, many countries began to look for alternatives. The strongest of these alternatives was China, and its currency, the yuan. China has already been one of the largest production centers in the world for many years. For many countries, China is the main trading partner. Thousands of products are produced in China and sold all over the world. For a country with such great economic power, it did not make strategic sense to conduct its trade mainly in another country's currency. China gradually and in a planned way began to increase the international role of the yuan. First, it moved away from the dollar in bilateral trade agreements with some countries and switched to settlements in yuan. Then it built alternative systems to the dollar for interbank payments. Later, it signed currency swap agreements with various countries so that the parties could directly use their own currencies in trade. All of these steps served one goal: to gradually turn the yuan into a normal tool of international trade. One of the most striking moments in this process was related to energy markets. Because for many years, the oil and gas market has been built almost entirely on the dollar. This is sometimes called the petrodollar system. In other words, the world needed dollars to buy oil, and this ensured that the dollar always remained in high demand. China raised the issue of conducting energy purchases in yuan with some of its trading partners. This was a very big and symbolic step. Because if the role of the dollar in the energy market starts to decrease, this can be a sign of very serious changes in the global financial system. Today, a number of countries already use the dollar less in trade with China. A large part of trade between Russia and China is carried out in yuan and rubles. Brazil prefers its own national currency and the yuan in trade with China. Some Asian and African countries have also started to take similar steps. Many central banks are gradually adding the yuan to their reserves. This does not yet mean that the dollar has been suddenly pushed aside, but it clearly shows that the world does not want to remain completely dependent on a single currency. Nevertheless, the yuan still faces serious obstacles. The Chinese financial system is not fully open. The yuan is not a fully free-floating currency and is tightly controlled by the state. Investors still consider US financial markets more transparent and more reliable. The legal system and financial infrastructure in the United States have been formed over many years and still look more attractive for large capital. For this reason, it would not be realistic to say that the dollar will be completely dethroned in the near future. But the main point here is somewhere else. The world is already slowly moving toward a multipolar financial system. That means that in the future, not only the dollar, but several major currencies may play parallel roles in global trade and finance. The dollar will still be strong, but its absolute and uncontested dominance may not be the same as before. The yuan, the euro, and perhaps other currencies may gain a larger share. These changes will also have indirect effects on ordinary people. If the global financial system changes, trade flows may also change. Price fluctuations may increase. Some products may become more expensive. Instability may appear in some markets. At the same time, interest in traditional safe assets like gold and even in cryptocurrencies may increase. Because in times of uncertainty, people and investors look for alternative ways to protect their wealth. In fact, this process is not just about changing money. It is closely connected with the change in the global balance of power. Where economic power goes, financial influence goes as well. As China grows economically, its currency also wants to increase its role. The United States is still very strong, but it is no longer in the same single dominant position as before. The world is moving toward a more complex, more multi-centered, and more competitive system. This change will not happen in 1 year or 2 years. It is a process that takes many years. Maybe it will last for decades. But the direction is already clear. The unipolar world of money is slowly turning into a multipolar world. The dollar will remain important for a long time. But the yuan and other currencies will also appear more and more, and will be used more and more. And we are currently living right in the middle of this silent, but very deep historical transformation.